This video will begin a study of the book of Psalms. There are 150 of them. A study going through all of them at one time would take quite a long time. Therefore, the study is going to be divided into the 5 parts that exist in the book of Psalms. These parts follow the 5 books of the Torah. The first one, which is the one we will cover in this study, go from verse 1 through 41, and the focus is on God beside us. Many of these are David's trials. He not only ran from Saul, his own son Absalom would take his place on the throne. They discuss his relationship with God, his deliverance from enemies. Out of the 150, David is the author of 73 of them. The Dead Sea Scrolls, when they were found, it was discovered that a first century copy of the Psalms existed, and it indeed was in 5 parts, and each of the section ends with a doxology or a praise prayer. They are both inspirational and prophetic. The chief singer, Asaph, one of the main leaders of the singers, wrote 12 of the Psalms. Korah, who was the first cousin of Moses, 12. He was a Kohathite. Kohathites, if you recall from the study of earlier books in the Old Testament, Kohathites' job was to carry the Ark of the Covenant on their shoulders. Korah was a Kohathite. He led a rebellion against Moses. He, of course, as Kohathite, was not credentialed to act as a priest, and Moses separated those who were with Korah, and the earth opened and swallowed 250 of them. However, not all of his family stood with him, because he does have descendants that survived. Solomon is credited with 2 Psalms, Heman with 1, Jeduthun, who is also called Ethan, with 1. Moses wrote Psalm 90, and 49 out of the 150 are anonymous. We do not know who wrote them. From the Septuagint, the book is called Salome, and in the Greek, Plasmos, and these are not just prayers and songs. There's far more to them. David was a prophet. When we get to Psalm 22, we will see that psalm follows every detail of the crucifixion. If you have a companion Bible, read Appendix 64. If you do not, that appendix could be accessed online, and it is a discussion of the Psalms. And that to the chief musician, mainly it discusses that it is properly translated, he who gives victory, none other than Christ. The Septuagint uses the word Aquila, and there are several translations up to the chief musicians. However, the solid scholarships point to the Messiah. Dispensations of time. We see that there's subjects and objects, and there are also time periods that are represented in the Psalms, and Psalms, of course, in the time that they were written, all of those authors, man was under the law. The dispensation of grace did not come into being until we had Jesus. When David and Solomon, of course, made sacrifices to atone for sin. And of course, we have a dispensation of judgment when Christ returns at the seventh trump. The Bible contains 20 acrostics. These are hidden messages used by sprinkling the alphabet throughout the work, and there are 9 in the Psalms, and particularly 9 and 10 will contain important acrostics, and the acrostic always is a hidden message. The Psalms are very often quoted in the New Testament, and most perhaps by Isaiah. 1 through 41, the book Genesis is man's relationship to God. 42 through 72 is Exodus, and it has to do with Israel as a nation. 73 through 89 discusses Leviticus, the sanctuary. 90 through 106, Israel and the nature of earth, and 107 through 150, the very last, God and Word and blessings, and that is the Deuteronomy chapter. 1 through 8 deals with man as the Son of Man. And let us begin then with Psalm number 1, and it reads, Blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor standeth in the way of sinners, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. This is how to be happy. Ungodly is lawless. Don't believe what they believe. Of course, we have to interact with the ungodly if we are to complete our mission. Our mission is to help others and to save others, to bring them into standing with Jesus. This is to mean we are not to dwell in their presence. We are not to adapt their behavior and make them our chief friends, our coterie. Verse 2. But his delight is in the law of the Lord, and in his law doth he meditate day and night. Yes, the happy man, he is happy, delights in the word, meditates on what the word says. To know what the word says, we must study and learn. 3, and he shall be like a tree planted by the rivers of water, that bringeth forth his fruit in his season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. He will be blessed. He will be planted firmly. Winds will not blow away. It is not a fragile tree. Excuse me. The faith there is fruit. Faith is just symbolized by the leaf. Faith, work. No works, no fruit. When we do things God's way, we are blessed. Verse 4. And the ungodly are not so, but we are like that, like the sheep which the wind driveth, the chaff which the wind driveth away. Chaff, that part of the wheat which is not useful. On the winnowing floor, the grain was separated from that chaff. And covering the seed, it's useless. And the wheat seed, though, is good. The ungodly here are compared to chaff, like the worthless cover on a wheat seed. Verse 5. Therefore the ungodly shall not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the congregation of the religious. They will not stand in. Righteous there means justified. And we learn in Ezekiel 44 the word Zadok, which are the elect. They stand. That word means is kum. And the ungodly will not be in that first resurrection that is described in Revelation 20, and particularly verse 5. Verse 6 to conclude the first psalm. For the Lord knoweth the way of the righteous, but the way of the ungodly shall perish. True. Yes, perish. God knows our ways. We can't hide from God. Matthew 7:23 tells us at the return we will be with God and with Christ, and he will say to the ungodly, depart from me. That's at the great white throne judgment. Of course, we have a millennium of teaching. Psalm number 2, Genesis 3, about the fall of man. 1. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? Heathen there should be translated nations. Rage in assembly, gather together and rage, and what is said is vain or empty. And here that nothing can you rage and change God's plan, however much you may rage. Think about that in conditions that exist in today's world. 2. The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, 3, let us break their bands asunder and cast away their cords from us. There, whose cords will be cast away? God and his anointed. Nonsense. You can't break cords. All souls belong to God. You cannot take a person's soul, and these are persons who do not wish to hear about God. As we said, the Psalms are prophetic, and we should consider what is going on in terms of anti-Christianity and Semitism in today's world. 4. He that sitteth in the heavens shall laugh, the Lord shall have them in derision. He, the Father. Lord here is in the Greek Adonai. Yes, they will be ridiculed. 5. Then shall he speak unto them in his wrath, and vex them in his sore displeasure. Yes, he will speak. There will be a cup of wrath poured out. And in the dispensation, the judgment dispensation after the second advent. Once again, important to keep up with the dispensations being discussed and the time element. Verse 6. Yet have I set my king upon my holy hill of Zion, that is Mount Moriah, and that is none other than Jesus, and that will begin on the Lord's Day, the holy hill, Mount of Olives, Mount Moriah, reference Acts chapter 1. 7. I will declare the decree, the Lord hath said unto me, Thou art my son, this day have I begotten thee. Anointed Messiah. Remember in Matthew 3:7 when Jesus was baptized and God spoke from the heavens, This is my beloved Son in whom I am well pleased. And this is repeated in Acts 13:32. Verse 8. Ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thine inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. Ask, and he might give a nation, and of course, once again, this refers to the second coming of Christ. Verse 9. Thou shalt break them with a rod of iron, thou shalt dash them in pieces like a potter's wheel. Thou there refers to none other than Christ, Revelation 2:27. Almost the same, not of the iron of correction and unbending authority at the end. Verse 10, Be wise now, therefore, O you kings, be instructed, ye judges of the earth. To the kings to be wise. How should a king or a ruler be wise? To study and not make up his own counsel. Verse 11. Serve the Lord with fear and rejoice with trembling. Fear, of course, is awe, and in reverence, trembling is really to be joyous. It does not mean that control is lost. There is self-control, but we are to let the spirit man lead us and not the flesh. Verse 12, to conclude this psalm. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry, and ye perish from the way, when his wrath be kindled but a little. Blessed are all they that put their trust in him. Yes, the Son, of course, once again is Jesus. We are to submit to him, lest he be angry. And we are to take refuge in him. And we know that the Lord is a consuming fire, and those elements that are burned in the end are the bad elements will melt. Those are all bad things. And we know that God is a God of love. Fire, God is a consuming fire. But those who are destined to the lake of fire already are Satan and those fallen angels, Nephilim. Jude 1-6 describes that, if you would do a side study. Fallen angels, those. Add those who are scornful to God, and believers love and serve will be fine. Separation, wheat from the chaff. Psalm 3 is, of course, a psalm written by David, a psalm of David when he fled Absalom, his son. If you recall, Absalom, his son, wished to take the throne. He acted in a very haughty, hateful way, had a chariot, and he'd have 50 men run ahead. Absalom, here comes Absalom. And then he takes after his father in an attempt to take the throne. This is a mourning psalm. Absalom, of course, as we said, is his son. He was a half brother to Amnon, and he had a sister named Tamar, and she was raped by Amnon, and Absalom killed Amnon, and then he went to Syria, and Joab fetched him back, but he was gone for 3 years. And Absalom got 50 men, of course, as I said, to run ahead in the gate. He'd go to the gate and sit as though he were the judge. And, he stole hearts. He was a charismatic, perhaps good-looking person. And people rebelled. He had persons who followed him. And David, of course, fled with the faithful. And Absalom is a type for the Antichrist. And if we know this, we can understand. David knows that he had some mess ups. He had committed adultery. He sent Uriah, Bathsheba's husband, into the heat of battle, knowing he would be killed, first-degree murder. And also, in the book of Chronicles, we learn that David also numbered the army, and he was not instructed to by God, but by Satan himself. Verse 1, Psalm 3. Lord, how are they increased that trouble me? Many are they that rise up against me. Yes, very many were rising up against David. 2, many there be which say of my soul, there is no help for him in God. Selah. No help for him. Elohim is what creator God, the word Lord translated. David knew the promises. He knew that God was for him. Selah, that is a musical term. It means pause and reflect. Verse 3. But thou, O Lord, art a shield for me, my glory, and the lifter up of mine head. I would point out that that shield there is not just a simple little shield that one might hold over his midsection. This is a long shield that would cover the entire body, and God is that kind of a shield for us, completely covering all of our body. Verse 4. I cried unto the Lord with my voice, and he heard me out of his holy hill. Yes, he did. Selah. He repented, and he paused and reflect. God heard me. 5. I laid me down and slept. I waked, for the Lord sustained me. He is at peace because he knows God is with him. And that is how we have peaceful sleep. No tossing and turning and worry if we lean totally on the Lord. 5, excuse me, I will not be afraid of 10,000s of people that have set themselves against me round about. He's saying, I am not afraid. I do not care. Leviticus 26:8, curses and blessings. And we can put the enemy to flight. 7. Arise, O Lord, save me, O my God, for thou hast smitten all mine enemies upon the cheekbone. Thou hast broken the teeth of the ungodly. Yes, the cheekbone has been broken, and they are smitten. Thou hast smitten. Yes, enemies will be scattered and destroyed. 8. To conclude this psalm. Salvation belongeth unto the Lord. Thy blessing is upon thy people. Selah. Arise, O Lord. That is a phrase that Moses used when the ark was lifted up. Arise, O Lord. The Lord dwelt with them in the ark of the covenant. Now, the title to the next verse, a superscript to the chief musician on Neganoth, a psalm of David. Once again, the chief musician refers to he who gives victory. Neganoth is in the Hebrew smitings, and this title is not actually a superscript for number 4, but it belongs to 3. It's not the beginning of the next psalm. Rather, David's has made a discovery in 3. Trust in the Lord. Psalm number 4. That last verse in Habakkuk, the Psalm Habakkuk 3:1 and Isaiah 38. That line is that last verse 19 in is lose my strength, is to the chief singers, etc. Neganoth is at the end of verse 12 in that part in Habakkuk and in Isaiah 38, and it is sometimes called a string instrument, but it is a part of all of these superscripts and subscripts are part of God's word. And thy blessings in thy people, Selah, connect 3 to number 4. This is why that so-called superscript actually belongs to this first psalm. There is a psalm in Habakkuk in 3:4, chapter 3, verse. In chapter 3, excuse me. So we'll begin with Psalm number 4, and it is an evening prayer. Hear me when I call, O God of my righteousness. Thou hast enlarged me when I was in distress. Have mercy upon me. Hear my prayer, an evening prayer. Answer me when I called. Hear my prayer. Enlarge, make wide my way. He is asking. Verse 2. Oh, ye sons of men, how long will you turn thy glory into shame? How long will you love vanity and seek after leasing? Selah. That word leasing is an interesting word. Vanity, of course, means nothing. That word is leasong. It's an old Anglo-Saxon word, and it means a falsehood. So he is saying to them, you are supporting lies, the lies of Absalom. And Selah is going to be used here, meditate and connect. Verse 3. But know that the Lord hath set apart him that is godly for himself. The Lord will hear when I call upon him. Yes, the Lord will set apart the godly for himself, and that is important to that subscription that up ahead that will follow. 4. Stand in awe and aim not, sin not, commune with your own heart upon your feet and be still. Selah, place of meditation. It's sin for those who are supporting Absalom and in coming against David. Verse 5. Stand in awe, 5. Offer the sacrifice of righteousness and put your trust into the Lord. Trust and sacrifice. Of course, as we said, Absalom is a type for the Antichrist, and he was not anointed. David was anointed to be the king. Verse 7. Thou hast put gladness in my heart more than in the time that their corn and their wine increased. Yes, when their corn and their wine increased, that's right after the harvest. And David and his company are running rather short on supplies by this time. He has a little ragtag group of persons. Verse 7 to conclude this psalm. Give ear to my word, I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. He is saying, Lord, you will keep me safe. Peaceful sleep, because he is repentant. And the superscript in the next, at the top of the first psalm, actually belongs with this one to the chief musician upon Negaloth, a psalm of David. Negaloth means to lose. Holes in flutes can be connected in the Hebrew, concerns he that inherits, the inheritance. Inheritance allotments is properly subscripted here. Peaceful sleep belongs to him. And of course, this belongs to Psalm 4. And the chief musician, he is to come, Jesus. And it's been translated that it's holes in flutes. That's not right. It in the Hebrew is about he who inherits. Inheritance allotments. This concludes this video, verses or Psalms 1 through 4, and an introduction to the Psalms. We will continue the book of Psalms through the Genesis section up to and through verse 41. This video is an outreach of the Essex Methodist Church in Essex, Missouri, a global congregation.